ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. In this 61st class on Bhagavad Geetā online, we are going to take a second look at the glorious yajna concept as presented by Bhagavan Vasudeva in this third chapter. Yajna appears in many chapters all the way till the 18th, and it in fact is a key to, on one hand, a productive living, and on the other, resolution of various conflicts. Yajna is a dramatized version of Karma Yoga itself. Therefore, the two aspects I mentioned are valid here. If we learn the secrets of Karma Yoga, we deeply appreciate Karma Yoga and get down to practicing Karma Yoga in life, we become very productive because we take delight in doing our best, in discharging our duties, in contributing to our surroundings, whether it's a local community or worldwide. The quantity is not the issue, but when there is earnestness, generally a certain quantity definitely will show up. Anybody who is sincere, who is working hard, who is keeping negative emotions away, is generally discovered by, if not the whole world, quite a good number of people around her or him. One is being more productive, and second is conflict resolution. A lot of our conflicts are because knowingly or unknowingly we lay emphasis on what we get. Somebody is not fair to us, somebody is crude, rude, somebody is even wicked, somebody talks ill of us, and somebody causes financial loss to us, whatever it is. When we continuously think about what they did and get weakened when it comes to what we may do, then the agitations in us increase. When we stay aware of what those wicked people are doing to us, let's say, but without spending too much energy on that, we day after day identify what it is that we can give, not necessarily to those wicked people, to people around us. We have our family, we have our near and dear ones, we have a field of work, our maybe occupation, our chosen lifestyle, where there are a lot of people who can receive a lot from us. Can we ensure that everybody gets what we owe them? I'm not saying we should try to set the whole world right. That would be foolish. All of us have certain limitations. But even in a small circle of chosen people, if we are contributors, then the amount of satisfaction, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of life is meaningful that we will experience is unimaginable. Where is then the question of suffering from turmoil and conflict and inner lack of peace, etc.? Thus, these common sense truths are put in a very dramatic version. Sri Krishna calls that kind of living yajna. Yajna or yagya. Today we go to the 12th and 13th shlokas. Sri Krishna says, Ishtan bhogan hivo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha Terdattan apradayebhyo yo bhunkte stena eva saha yajna shishta shinas santo muchyante sarva kilbishaihi bhunjate tu agham papaha ye pachanti atmakarana devaha. In the dramatized version, though the yajna literally also is true, however, the present context is a much broader scenario, where yajna is a symbol. Selfless service is the actuality. When we perform this yajna, definitely people who are the recipients of our kind acts, if not immediately, at a later time, give to us gifts, material or otherwise. At the least, they will have certain goodwill towards us. You might have heard of the story of Abou Ben Adam, a poem of olden days. One night, in the middle of the night, Abou Ben Adam, a good soul who used to help people, woke up seeing that his bedroom was lighted. He said, how come this is lit up? And then he finds two angels with a writing board coming very close to him and making some jottings. He speaks to those angels. What are you writing? What is it? Some list you are making. These two angels say to him, we are able to recognize when we come close to a soul, whether that soul loves God or not. And moreover, we can also find out how much this particular soul loves God. And we are making a list of, from top to bottom, who on this earth love God the maximum, who second in the list, third in the list, and so on. And when will we know the result? Asks Abou Ben Adam. Instantly, even as we come close to you, we get to know your rank. And Abou Ben Adam is very curious. Do you see that I love God? Where do I stand? The angels say, sorry to tell you, it appears you are not much of a lover of God. You are way down in the list. But never mind, you are in the list. Abou Ben Adam is not much disturbed. He goes to sleep. The next night, the angels are back again, as though they lost the list they had made yesterday or last night, previous night. And Abou Ben Adam again wakes up at 1 a.m., seeing the room lit up and whatever other signs rise when angels visit you. I would imagine some fragrance in the room, maybe some soft music also. He wakes up and asks the same two angels, oh, you are back. What are you now writing? They say it's a little different. Previous night we were ranking people going by how much they love God. Tonight we are doing another job. We come close to you and we get to know how much God loves you. Oh, if I don't love God so much, then why would God love me? Anyhow, let me know what my rank is. The poem ends with the line, the angels tell him, we too are surprised. In this list of how much God loves people, you are on top. You are on top of the list. God loves you. And we can see the reason. God loves you because you love people. You are serving people. You are kind. You go the extra mile to be of help. So that is yajna. Yajna in yajna, devaha ishtan dasyante. God is pleased with people if they are kind to their surroundings, people around them. Devaha ishtan dasyante. And yajna bhavita. Why do they give? Because they are pleased by your selfless service. Taihi dattan, whatever they give, suppose you simply receive and you stop giving to them or giving to people in whom the devas are present, that is the symbolism here, then you become a thief. Stena. Stena is same as chauraha, choraha, a thief. Any of us who go on receiving and knowingly or unknowingly do not actually contribute. We just become lazy. We imagine we are very good people and the whole town wonders, what goodness, what is she doing, what is he doing? Just by putting up a smile on the face in all get-togethers and parties, does one become good? Do something. Everybody doesn't have to do the same. People have different capacities. Some people work in administration, some people work in financial sector, some people work in education, yet others even in sports, movies, you name it, every field of activity in the world has a lot of scope for service to people around you. So, if one does not contribute in some form, sometimes even just listening to these sorrowful tales of people who come to you with empathy, not in a mechanical way, just saying, hmm. Rather, you listen, you feel what they are going through, and maybe you speak very little, but a few words that touch their hearts will be a great yajna. This 13th shloka says, that is the right way of living. Yajna shishta ashinaha. Ashnati or ashnute means eat, consume. If you and I take what remains after we serve people, yajna shishta. Shishta is with the same verbal root as shesha. Shesha is what remains. You serve your guests. In our country, we have this statement, Atithi Devo Bhava, drawn from Taittiriya Upanishad of Krishna Yajurveda. Atithi Devo Bhava, you serve the guests and then you take what remains. That's again symbolic. In numerous ways, you do your duty, then go for enjoyment. You study what you need to study. Then you wanted to watch a short YouTube video, either educative or maybe even some entertainment, or nowadays you have edutainment. There are pieces of video, audio, or text which educate us, and they are a bit entertaining too. But suppose you first get down to entertainment and all those audio, video, books, etc., and plan to do your duty, but don't do finally. In my younger days, I had a friend who was 3 years younger to me. He would come to me and ask me, tell me about the art of living. I would tell him some story. I would tell him some inspirational, motivational stuff. And he would be mighty pleased. But later I came to know that's about it. He would listen and enjoy how we must live life, etc. But go home, simply eat and sleep. And next day also remain lazy. Evening, if you get a chance, he comes. Tell me more. That is not good. What today you have a self-help literature, motivational literature. So better we make a rule, even in our Swadhyaya studies, we must first study what we regard as our duty, as truly helping us spiritually. And then there are this popular stuff, so-called self-help literature. Because the self-help literature, all the said and done, give us some dreams. You do this, you will become this. So, how to win friends and influence people. The title itself is promising a big reward. How you may influence people, you may win friends and become popular, great, famous, moneyed, and so on. Whereas the top level shastras, they give more essential tips. They ask you to know yourself. They ask you to love God. They ask you to live in constant self-awareness. They ask you to take good care of your body. Lot of things, and some of them may be a little technical too. So what I mean, giving the example of that my high school friend, is we should not be attached to just listening to some rosy pictures of how we can become great and just follow that literature. Rest of the time, eat, drink, and sleep, or waste time on other things. First, we must ensure that we do what we have promised to people. And rewards will come. That is yajna shishta. What elsewhere we call prasada. You offer something to God in a puja, worship, then after it's over, we believe God has taken it in essence, and what remains is the prasada. If we take the prasada after a puja, that is healthy. We should not eat half of the whatever we have made and then say, let me leave some for the puja today. Shiva Shiva. That is wrong sequence. Yajna shishta ashina santaha muchyante sarva kilbishai. Kilbisha literally is impurities. Kilbisha is, in this context, sin. There is sin in the antakarana, in our mind and intellect, because of wrongs we have done in this life or even in previous lives. But that can be washed away. The good news is we can cleanse our bosom of sin and sinful tendencies. It is said, therefore, kilbishaihi muchyante. This is no different from what I said a while ago, freeing ourselves of conflicts, conflict resolution. If we pull a long face and remembering something that happened in 2008, something that happened in 1997, something that happened as recently as 2020, and our heart sinks. We go off mood. We don't feel like doing anything. That is kilbisha. That sorrow, that regret, that boredom, that lack of interest in anything, feeling like going on taking more tea or coffee. And when we feel again and again, let me munch some Haldiram's namkeen or something, going on, biting, looking out of the window, not doing anything. That is kilbisha. That is sin. That is bad habits. And this statement, muchante kilbishaihi, has the significance of being freed from bad habits. If we get up late, though our plan is to get up early, if we talk too much, though our intention was to talk modestly, moderately, if we eat too much, while just before we sat for lunch or dinner, our idea was to have a light meal. Some people say, let's have something light. Then they go on eating. It is psychological disorder more than actual biological hunger. All that is kilbisha. All that, as J. Krishnamurti would call, is disorder in human life, in daily life. He, for one, advised people more than becoming scholars of Gita or Upanishads, Bible or Quran. Take a look at your way you live and eliminate disorder from your daily life. Talking too much, eating too much, sleeping too much, or sleeping at wrong times and not replying to people when they expect a reply, and talking to them when they want you to be silent, but, and so on. So all that is disorder, all that is kilbisha, living a life of yajna where we are going by our conscience. That is called conscientious living, where we listen to our inner voice. That is yajna. So don't imagine yajna is some very religious, some ritualistic thing. There is a ritual also, which has its own significance. It has its efficacy. It has its effects. But here we are talking of yajna as a conscientious living where we serve people, where we put duty before pleasure. Gunjate tu here means on the other hand, in contrast, those others, agham bunjate, they eat. The first line said ashinaha, consume, eat, partake of. Second line is bunjate, same sense. Those who consume without serving people, they just take and enjoy, they are papa, they are the sinners on this earth, because they pachanti. Here pachanti means they prepare food and eat just for their own sake. Atma karana, for themselves. So there is a commentary by Shankara which covers 4 verses, 10th onwards. Saha yajnaha yajna sahitaha prajaha trayo varnaha taha srishtva. When it comes to the special, technically sophisticated Vedic ritual, trayo varnaha is applicable. Because it's not a matter of letting all do. Actually, it is to recognize that all cannot do. In a school of classical music, suppose a government says, everybody has to learn classical music. It's very nice of them to open the doors of classical music school to all, but a large number of people won't be able to learn classical music. For them, even simple music will be difficult. Likewise, in olden days, Trayo Varnaha, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Shudras were left out. That was the understanding. Then I do admit, lot of exploitation took place. Now also there is exploitation. Therefore, I fully support all movements which are genuinely for social justice, which are not rooted in hatred towards some community, which are not sadistic, which are not supported by mere violent tendencies in the human bosom, but people like Ambedkar and so on, they actually were beautiful human beings and they really wanted to ensure that nobody was exploited. To work against exploitation is very much in line with the Bhagavad Gita, with the Vedas. Our country has always seen, much before Ambedkar and others came, lot of movements. Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Guru Nanak Dev, and Basaveshwara, and so many other ladies also, lady saints. In every state, Maharashtra and Karnataka, Punjab or Bengal, there have been social reformers who called for equality. Therefore, there is no contradiction with equality when even Shankara says, Trayo Varnaha. We have to see everything in a context. Adi Shankara was a custodian of the Vedika Dharma. So he then describes the meaning, the rationale in a Vedic outlook. But that in no way means somebody take wrong advantage of that Vedic outlook and do discriminatory activities. So today, in the 21st century, we have to take the essentials of the Vedic Dharma and we do not fall a prey. We must not fall a prey to any form of either we exploiting people or letting somebody exploit us. Anyway, this I had commented last time also. Trayo Varnaha. Why is Adi Shankara so talking of Varna here? This is a whole subject by itself. Whenever a certain model is explained, there are some technical words. Then it is up to you to take those words in a narrow sense, like making it absolutely by birth and so on, or taking it in a broader sense, knowing the spirit or knowing what is hidden. That is universally and eternally applicable. Like I gave the example of classical music. Classical music cannot be studied by all. Therefore, Tayo Varnaha, if applied in that example, means we must make classical music available to all who have the capacity, who have the inclination, who have the potential for learning it. That is the essential purport. Purvam Sargada Uvacha. This we had seen last time. Prasavishyadvam, Prasavaha Vriddhihi Kurudvam. And let this yajna be a wish-fulfilling cow as far as you are concerned. Then, how does it actually work? In a second paragraph, Shankaracharya says, Devan Indradin Bhavayata. You, by your service-minded acts, please the divine forces in nature. This nature has lots of forces at work which are invisible to us. And that's what the ancient Vedic wisdom had discovered. They called it karma siddhanta. If you do good, good will come to you. Don't be impatient. Sometimes it may not come to you soon. It will come to you at the right time. Like some plants you sow, you put some plants in your backyard. They may take 20 years to really rise and bear fruit. I heard there is some Chinese bamboo. You put that Chinese bamboo For some 5 years or so, you don't see anything coming from the ground, rising from the ground. And it's a very strange, interesting case. After 5 years, they not only rise, they come out of the earth. You had put seeds or whatever, whatever way you do it. They come and they grow very fast. And then they overtake so many other trees. 5 years they were quiet. And afterwards they rose higher than other trees. So like that, karma is such. Some of our karmas give results immediately. Some others show their effects in their own due course of time. And like the Chinese bamboo, there could be some karmas which don't give results for a good length of time. But when they begin to show results, you cannot stop them. There will be so much of rewards of the good work that you have done. Indradin bhavayata te indradayaha devaha bhavayantu apyayayantu. May they foster you, may they nourish you, may they nurture you. How? Vrishti adina. In the Mula, original picture, the gods in the heaven bless us with plenty of rains. Rains are a sign of prosperity. When there are rains, right amount, adequate amount, at the right time, there will be subhiksha. Subhiksha, bhiksha, subhiksha means plenty of healthy crops, grains and vegetables, cereals, everything available at plenty. Then that is the gift of gods. May they propitiate and please you by rains and so on. And now there is a punchline. Parasparam bhavayantaha shreya param avapsyata. You please people, people will please you. This is a great give and take philosophy. Give when you can give, and in all humility, take, receive when you can receive. Finally, Shreyaha is Moksha Lakshanam, Jnana Prapti Kramena. Adi Shankara is uncompromising when it comes to what brings about liberation. Niswartha karma, selfless action by itself cannot give you liberation, technically. What happens is, because of the selfless service you have rendered, you gain some extraordinary insights. One fine morning, maybe when on one hand there is a certain sorrow in you, there was a certain sorrow in you, I did so much for them, nobody said even thank you. So you may have a slight sorrow. But sipping your tea, sitting in the balcony, thanks to all the good you did, your antakarana, your inner equipment, mind and intellect, may surprise you with an insight, with an outlook. Hey, wait a minute. Who needs to be sorrowful? Why should anybody cry? Is there anybody really within me who has to be in sorrow? And you may discover, leave alone sorrow. The entity, the ego which was in sorrow has vanished. There is nobody who has to suffer, who has to cry. And that is called a moment of realization. That is the aha moment of seeing how the ego is a myth. The ego is a lie. The ego is humbug. The ego is a mere construction of thought. There is no ego in any of us, really speaking. This ego is a phantom figure. If you question, it will vanish. Therefore, Maharshi Ramana incessantly said to his visitors, find out who you are. Don't take the self in you, the little self that suffers or enjoys, to be real. The self in you, which is subject to misery, is an illusion. We don't say the world is illusion and stop. We say this whole frame of reference where there is a world which tyrannizes us and there is me. There is the me. I suffered. They were also unkind to me. People were so wicked towards me, we say. Advaita Vedanta says, the me that got exploited, that suffered, is as much an illusion as the world, the people who caused suffering. So together when you take that frame of reference, ego and its world are together to be understood as false. Therefore, Shankara says, Jnana Prapti. In between two sips of cup of tea, you have a Jnana. And you smile. The personality smiles. The pure self is always blissful. Avapsyata, you will get the highest good. Swargam va, on a lower level, it is reaching heaven. Param Shreyaha Avapsyata. So on a lower notch, it may not be liberation. The Gita Shloka used the word Shreya Param. So Param doesn't have to mean moksha always. Even reaching heaven is relatively way high. Para means high. So someone goes to heaven after this life for long period of stay there. That is also a very enviable accomplishment. Kincha, further, Ishtan, Abhipretan, whatever you had desired, Bhogan, enjoyments, Vaha Yushmabhyam, fourth case. To you, gods give you. Shankara uses a old-time classical expression, Stri Pashuputra-deen. From a man's point of view, to have a good wife, Stri can mean to have good daughters-in-law. It's symbolic. What is meant is men or women, and they are getting good company, good family, good people, Pashu, animals, Putra, Adin, they get Yajna Bhavita and Apradaya, next sentence, without returning to them. Adatva, Andranyam Akrutva. Ranya is when you remain indebted. Andranya is when you have cleared your debts. If you don't do that, Swadeha Indriyani eva tarpayati, you just go on ensuring you are comfortable, then you become a thief. Perhaps this we had seen before quickly. Ye punaha deva yajnadi nirvartya tachishtam tat shishtam shesham ashanam amritakyam asitum shilam yesham. Those who take prasad and not eat up stuff before offering to God, muchyante sarvakil vishayi. Chulyadi panchasuna kritaihi. So in olden days, you have an oven where you put wooden sticks, that is the fuel. Today we have gas, we have induction cooker, we have microwave, so many. Symbolically, what sort of said thousands of years ago holds good now also. But literally, chulli adi. Chulli is oven. Moment you are lighting up fire, it could be that some insects, some creatures get burnt. So certain sin will come to you. Chulli adi, Tippanikar say. One is oven, chulli. Another is peshani, grinding stone. And even broomstick, upaskaraha or avaskaraha, kandani. You have a long rod, vertically it is held and you beat some grains to separate their skin from the grain and so on. Udakumbaha, that is an earthen pot where you fill water and store. All of them are suna. Suna literally means in Sanskrit, place where someone, something, some animal is slaughtered. Place of killing. So even an utter non-violent person unknowingly kills many creatures. Like today we have, even in very good restaurants, hotels, etc., you go, there is one staff member who is going around for our comfort. Chuck, chuck. He has got some kind of racket, electric bat. With that, he will be killing mosquitoes, flies, other insects. Or in a corner, there is some equipment where insects go and get killed. So killing creatures, small or big, alas, is part of life, unavoidable to an extent, though great attempts were made. In Jainism, they cover their mouth much before, thousands of years before COVID came. Jain monks were walking around on this earth with mask on. That is not against COVID or coronavirus. They did not want even their breathing to kill maybe some minute creatures flying in the air. So Jainism was a unbelievably humongous attempt by Lord Mahavira and others to live ahimsa, to live in a non-violent way. I once, did I attend I think so, yeah. I attended an exhibition abroad on Jainism. Yes, at the end I bought a coffee table edition of some book on Jainism. And that exhibition was called The Jains, the Peaceful Warriors. They were warriors because they, not the physical war, they went on a symbolic war against evil, against untruth, against falsehood, etc. So peaceful warriors, the Jains, the peaceful warriors, was a wonderful exhibition in Los Angeles. And yes, more than Hinduism or Buddhism, in a very specially selected manner, Jainism attempted, and now also they have whole lot of rules. Jain monks, Digambaras, Svetambaras, etc., they shock us by some observances that they take up. I too don't know much about Jainism, but living in India, we have Jain friends. We meet and we get to know many things about that religion. Pramadakrit, so that is Suna. Suna is a killing place, and Shankara says, Chulyadi Pancha Suna Kritaihi. So the 5 Sunas, killing places, are Chulli, Peshani, Upaskara, Kandani, and Udakamba. A householder, especially, unknowingly commits violence, killing of creatures in the way he lives. So that kilbisha, all that papa, all that sin gets washed away by yajna karma. Take it in the moola artha, take it in the extended meaning. Pramadakrita hinsadi janitaihi cha anyaihi. Anyaihi also, there are many other kinds of. Verbally, sometimes we hurt people. And later, we may realize later, but it is already done. So, yajna karma, never mind. This moment onwards, be kind, be giving, be loving, be caring. Yesterday you perhaps spoke what should not have been spoken. Pramada krita. It was a lack of care, lack of attention. Ye to atmam bharayah. An atmam bhari is somebody who just nourishes himself. De bunjate agam. Swayamapi papaha ye pachanti. Pakam nirvartayanti. Atma karana. Now we begin in this class. Let me introduce another picturesque, elegant model of right living that Gita offers to us. Shankara introduces it. Itascha adhikratena karma kartavyam. One more reason for you and me to live a life of yajna, selfless service. What is that? Jagat chakra pravritti hetuhu hi karma. The reason is the whole universe runs as per a certain set sequence where we have a role to play, and we should play our role and contribute to this sequence. The sequence is called chakra. For like in a chakra, you go from one spoke to the other, or one point in the circle to the next, and to the next, finally to come back where you began. Here too, it all begins with living beings and ends, as we see, 7 factors with Brahman. And Brahman is in every living being. Brahman is not far away in some distant planet. Brahma, the supreme truth, the absolute truth, is in every living being. Therefore, living being, food reigns, 3 of them, then yajna in the center, 4th, and then karma, number 5, Vedas, number 6, and absolute Brahman, number 7. So the 7 of them have yajna in the middle, 3 factors before, 3 factors afterwards, and the last factor is present in the first, Bhutani. So the shlokas go, Annad bhavanti bhutani, Parjanyad anna sambhavaha, Yajnad bhavati parjanyaha, Yajnaha karma samudbhavaha, Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi, Brahmakshara samudbhavam, Tasmat sarvagatam brahma, Nityam yajne pratishtitam. Showing this sequence, Sri Krishna takes special care to mention. Do you notice? He says, Yajna is in the very middle of this 7-member sequence. The first member is, we see, we are living beings, and all around us there are living beings. Human beings, plants, animals, birds, aquatic creatures, and so on and so forth. It's an unbelievably astonishing diversity of creation. I saw a short video last night where a crocodile very carefully comes near bank of a river and is waiting, maybe half or mostly immersed in water, not making even a little sound. A certain aquatic creature called the eel. I don't know whether the eel is always in water or it can come on the land also, because in that video that eel is as though trying to come on the earth from the water. Eel, E-E-L. And maybe it's a short piece from National Geographic. The crocodile catches the eel and bites the eel with its teeth, trying to kill the eel. It succeeds in killing the eel. The eel dies after a while. But I didn't know that short video says eel is a creature inside which there are some systems, biological systems, which generate huge amount of electricity. So the two jaws of the crocodile bite the eel, and the eel, of course, is in unbearable pain and dies also after a couple of minutes or maybe a few more minutes. And the crocodile is trying to take away. But meanwhile, between the two jaws of the crocodile, a potential difference is generated, voltage difference, high potential PD as they call it. And I don't know how many amperes or what, a powerful electric current flows through the mouth of the crocodile. And that video shows the crocodile lies motionless. The crocodile successfully killed the eel, but also died because of the electric shock. No electricity made by mankind. There was no wire hanging, or there was no fuse, there was no whatever circuit left there by any human being. All nature's wonders. Some protection mechanism it has, though the eel did not succeed in surviving. The eel dies motionless, the crocodile dies, and is seen motionless at the end of the 2-minute video. The whole world, Bhutani. We are also Bhutani. Bhuta is living being. We are also a great wonder. Let me say, the wonders of our physical body themselves are unbelievable. Then there is the wonder that is possible in psychology. The human mind can go from one end of the spectrum, laziness, wickedness, sinful tendencies, etc., to another end of the spectrum, where it is unconditionally compassionate, kind, ever alert. The human mind has great possibilities, far better, far superior to the body. Then spiritual science comes. The Adhyatma Vidya says to us, what are you talking? 1,000 times, if not more powerful is spirit, consciousness. You be the consciousness. Understand yourself to be the consciousness. The rest of it happens. When you know Atmanishta, then the mind will function even better. The body will function even better. Body and mind will not become idle. One who has realized oneself to be the pure consciousness will find, to his own surprise probably, his body and mind working amazingly. They used to say Swami Chinmayanandaji's heart, from medical point of view, was only 17% efficient. Doctors were surprised. He should have died long back. How come he is alive? But he pulled on for many more years in that condition, gave hundreds of or more than that lectures, and was a blessing in the lives of so many people. And then, of course, the body came to an end. So, to be spiritual is not to neglect body and mind. On the contrary, when you are truly spiritual, the body and mind function in a very different way, on a higher level of efficiency. So, let me just give the literal meaning. Living beings come from the food they eat. Food comes from rains. Rains come if Vedic karma is performed. Parjanyaha yajnat bhavati. Yajna is karma samudbhava, Vedic karma. Karmas are mentioned, what karma has to be done is mentioned in Vedas called Brahmayar, and Vedas are the very breadth of the supreme truth called Akshara. Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. And I would add Aksharam Sarvada Bhuteshu Tesham Hridaye Eva Tishtati. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. It's a Vakya from Gita itself. So this becomes therefore a cycle. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.